Some men, though, they don't just blame their wives for stuff that they've done. They'll blame anything for their shit behaviour. And this is something I've gotten into. It's pretty good. I'm someone who quite likes living well beyond his means. And for my entire adult life, everyone around me has just been telling me I'm a dickhead who can't budget. But it turns out I went and got myself diagnosed with something. So, like everything else in my life, it's quite clearly not my fault. I knew I was a victim of some description. And while I'm here too, I'm not going to sink it into mental illness. It's bloody, that's crazy. What no one's reiterating for me with mental illness, though, is how great it is for people like professional athletes and myself to just rebrand our irresponsible shit behaviour on something that is largely and conveniently intangible. Excluding, of course, your more visible mental illnesses such as bodybuilding. But, the actual mental illness, though, it is a serious issue. It's not something to poke fun at. Mental illness is serious now. It's as serious now as it is popular. And while I'm not a practitioner, I've never really had the spare time, I have dabbled. And I, of course, sought treatment to find out exactly why the world hasn't provided me with everything I deserve. And along the way, I found out that I have never actually done anything wrong. Although, pre-self-diagnosis, some of the things the black dog did on my behalf, Jesus Christ. If my condition allowed me to feel some form of shame or embarrassment, I'd be ashamed and embarrassed at what the black dog had done on my behalf. One time, the black dog didn't turn up to work for 2 months straight. I lost my job for that. There was no support network set up there for people like me who don't really like working. One time, right, the black dog sent some lewd photographs to the sister of a colleague of mine. She didn't want them, evidently. I got sacked for that, even after I explained that those photos came from a very dark place. My crotch. One time, right, I went down to the pub to blow the froth off an icy cold jar of suds on a hot night after a hard day's yakka. And while I was down there, the black dog has drunk 2 jugs of beer in quick succession and become quite belligerent. And he went up for his 3rd jug at the bar, and the bartender said, "Sir," which is historically the worst possible start to a sentence when addressing the black dog when he's had a skinful. He said, "Sir, why don't you make your 3rd jug a mid-strength?" To which the black dog replied, "Why don't you get fucked?" Do I look like a heavily pregnant woman to you? And then they booted me out on the street for that. At which point the black dog has busted 3 of my knuckles on a passing teenager's face. I didn't know the kid. The black dog must have had some history with him. And then society has decided to side with the 17-year-old boy with a broken jaw, leaving me to think, fucking hell, what about the real victim here? Me. Here's something that happened to me, right? My grandfather died, right? And some of you may have had a grandfather die at some stage of your lives. I don't know. How would I? But when this happened, I had been watching a shit ton of television. I thought, there's only one thing for this, and that is a white lady funeral, the woman's touch. I'm going to have to get... I did dabble briefly with going with a small-time local dealership, but I thought, oh no, mum and pop operations, they just don't care enough to be able to gouge sufficient funds out of the bereaved to mount a nationwide mass media campaign. So we're going to have to go with the white ladies, the personal female touch there, because 2 things in the trademark registered name of white lady alone, of which Pops was quite fond. So we're going to have to go with them. So I found my nearest franchise, and it was handily located just next to an off-ramp of a freeway. And I didn't even have to go. I just rang up the white lady hotline, patent pending, and said, look, this is what happened. And they said, look, you're in luck, because what we do is we take care of everything. I said, everything? Everything. That is impressive, ladies. You got the job, obviously. Let's get down to the business of everything. Clearly, a couple of you have a background in roofing. We're going to need to get some tiles off. Still in his top floor bedroom there, couldn't get him out the doorway, he's massive. One of you knows how to operate a crane to make that happen. There's obviously a tow ball on the back of the hearse to bring in the pallet of beer for afterwards. The Heggies are fucking animals. One of you knows where to source an 8XL original vintage 1992 Brisbane Broncos premiership jersey that we can cut the back out of and drape across it and pretend it fits for the open casket funeral. And one of you knows how to referee fights, because after death and beer, there's going to be some fights. In my experience, grief and violence, never that far apart. Nothing really showcases your love for the deceased better than belting the shit out of a cousin who's still alive, does it? Turned out, though, down at White Lady HQ, their definition of everything, quite different to mine. What they thought everything entailed was sending along 6 silent women in white pantsuits to a demountable chapel in the middle of a cemetery there, and just get 5 of them to go out on a stealth mission and just float around and ambush mourners from behind with a gloved hand on the shoulder. And when you turn around all scared, they'll just give you this sympathetic and then walk off. While the 6th one was stationed at the door for the end to hand out bags of White Lady merchandise. Why not? They're trying to run a business. Leave them alone. And I don't mind saying, in terms of the merchandise White Lady, I got caught with my pants down. I was busy offering some unpaid amateur condolences to a grieving relative, and I had no idea that the merchandise White Lady was down to her last show bag until I heard her throw it up in the air and yell out, "Scab grab." But I got it, though. Don't worry. I'm not missing out on free stuff ever, especially at a funeral. Free stuff, that's one of my passions. I'm not here to big myself up, that's not my thing. But one time, I shoulder barged 2 10-year-olds off a footpath onto a main road just to get the last cornetto off the tailgate of a Black Thunder. So when shove comes to bash, this guy's not missing out on free shit. Now I'm the proud owner-operator of a White Lady show bag. It's got some really neat stuff in it. It's got a White Lady figurine in there with a hand out like that. Sits perfectly on the knob head of a Lego man if you're that way inclined. Had a handful of Redskins in there. Nifty little book on how to deal with grief. And the big ticket item, a killer python. Just in the bottom there. My killer python ended up losing his head in the ensuing fracas with an uncle and his 2 dickhead stepsons I never liked. But headless killer python or not, we're very glad we went with the White Ladies for the funeral, because my grandfather, there was only one dream he had, and he wanted to come true his whole life. And this was the dream that kept his chins up in the trenches of a war he didn't start. And it was the same dream that prompted him to practically beg us to ransack his pension over the last decade of his life, so I could quantify how quickly his mortality was bearing down on him at a rate of $19.95 per week. And it was the same dream, of course, that a lot of men of his generation had, and that was for 6 silent women in white pantsuits to be in charge of something as important as his send-off while wearing cowboy hats inside. He loved that. All the Anzacs did. And just to think that if I hadn't have been slumped in a couch watching television for the bulk of my adult life, his dream may never have come to fruition. Just one example of what television can do for us as a society. It is so good.
So this is the other thing we've been up to as a family. We've been staying in other people's houses for our holidays. I used to have to go and book motels like a fucking idiot for our holidays. Now I can stay in somebody else's house and check out their stuff while they're not there. It's pretty cool. And landlords is something that, when I was a child, we used to look up to landlords and think they were important people. Now, any old bourgeois Bevan is getting a property and just leveraging off that and getting another one and repeating the process. I know a fucking Coldplay listener who owns 3 houses. You're not special. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for multiple property ownership. How else are we going to continue to gouge the lower classes? What are we, commies? No matter how greedy you are, though, you can't live in more than one house at a time. So you're going to release some of them on the short-term property market. And these are the ones that people like me stay in. And from what I've seen too, landlords now, they're quite into spirituality. They've got all these affirmative statements peppered around their houses. We stayed in one. It was a solid 500 kilometres from the ocean. Still had a bowl of seashells on the kitchen table though, didn't it? To placate a rat-racing city slicker like me. First thing I did when we arrived, I sat down on a couch next to an embroidered cushion telling me to dance by myself. First night we were there, I did my neck on a clapped out futon. I thought, oh shit, that's no good. When I woke up, I thought, oh, it's fine. Someone's nailed a piece of driftwood to the wall over there and put in texture on that, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Well, I probably won't need a doctor, I've read that now. And that's some mosaics on the wall. That's where you get some of your better stuff. A homemade mosaic with some statements. And this one said, oh, time is just an illusion. You know, you're damn right it is. The clock doesn't even have numbers. It's just a couple of synchronised dolphins with some sticks swinging around it. I couldn't tell you what time it is. We ended up at this place checking out about 2 hours later at the end of our holiday. Turned out time was a little more fucking tangible in that instance. They also had some canvases on the walls, like those ones that are split up. You know, no frames. Why should they? And just all different fonts on there. Saying things like, oh, you know, the only thing that will make you richer, everyone, is travel. And by travel, I mean negative gearing. So by this early stage of our family getaway, I've got to say, my chakras had all turned red. It was only when I saw that there were 3 plates in the whole house, meaning we had to have a fight over who's going to eat their bangers and mash out of a fucking coffee mug. I thought, man, thank goodness all the knives in this joint are blunt, because I'm about to have one here. But nothing relaxes me more when I'm paying off somebody else's third mortgage than to just sink back into a beanbag that's never been washed and read a really thick tablet of rules, the shit that I have to do at someone else's house. And this one is quite the mixed bag of regimented hospitality. I opened it up and it said, oh, welcome to Forest Dreaming Retreat, everyone. Me casa, su casa. Yeah. Don't touch the air conditioning settings, you little grubs. Yeah, help yourselves to the Balinese rice terrace and water feature we've prepared out in the backyard for you. Yeah. No kids on the hammocks, you grotty little fucking renters. So landlords now, from what I've seen, they're all into power saving and water saving techniques. They love this. In their rules, it's all this power saving stuff. And landlords, from what I've seen, the world over, they're united in their quest to save this beautiful planet. And don't get me wrong, I love the environment as much as the next bloke with the microphone. But I'll be fucked if I'm going to somebody else's house and not just cranking up the aircon to maximum 24 hours per day. So when I get home from hunting at midnight, I can use all the extra blankets. Even in summer, I am quite partial to a snuggle. One particular enjoyment amendment, though, that really jumped off the page for me in this book of rules was one that said, hey, guys, don't use the kitchen appliances unless you absolutely have to. They draw heaps of power, no good for the environment. You've got to start thinking about what sort of world you want to leave behind for your grandchildren. Me, heaps of properties. You losers are going to have to start thinking about which brand of bear your grandchildren can poke fun at the zoo. So don't use the kitchen appliances, such as the blender, the espresso machine, and the sandwich toaster, because they draw too much power. Which to me is just a classic, oh, hey everyone, I'm up to my tattoos in debt here. I've just borrowed against Nan's pension to keep this thing going. I am literally 1 jaffle and 2 milkshakes away from this whole empire collapsing. Help a battler out, keep his portfolio together, will ya? Yeah. While you're at it, don't forget to live, laugh and love. Yeah.
I got told to go to this work dinner function, right? They're like an annual dinner thing. And I've turned up and they said, oh, good thing you're here. We bloody love comedy here. What we've done this year is we've sent all the Sheilas home. There's no balls and chains to drag the night down. So it's just you and 200 blokes to cut loose and go for it. I said, oh, hot diggity. Oh, I can't wait. Nothing bad's ever happened in a room full of exclusively men. Let's do it. And they said, yeah, we love comedy. What we've done is we have a comedian every year. We've had some excellent acts. Hope you're as good as some of them. One time we had a magician puppeteer. He was fabulous. Hope you're as funny as him. We had a guy who does robot noises and famous people impressions straight out of his mouth. You wouldn't believe it. Some other ones in between. Our favourite, though, probably was last year. We had these 4 improvisers turn up, and when they rolled in, these are blokes already. They were dressed as Dolly Parton, all four of them, so already clocked on there. Hilarious. And what they did was they took suggestions from the crowd and started doing skits, all dressed as Dolly Parton. It was so good. And they ended up doing Winter Olympics skits where they were pretending to ski and stuff. Mate, that was unbelievable. That took the roof off. That was entertainment. They were unbelievable. I said, man, seeing as I've seen this exact same Dolly Parton improv troupe in my past performing Winter Olympics skits, then unbelievable is certainly the correct term for what these fucking thespians are up to last year at your dinner. And while I'm down here, I'm not here to rip into any form of live entertainment, including, magic, ventriloquism, hypnotism, clowning, balloon animal shaping, and all the other dark arts that have a disturbing tendency to attract sexual predators to their ranks. That's not my business. But considering that some 2IC has had to approach a social coordinator and say, oh, sir, seeing as we think the funniest thing in the world is four unhappily married hobbyists dressed as Dolly Parton pretending to win a fucking bobsled race, maybe we should do a little bit of research on the entertainment we're going to get for this year, see if he's appropriate. Nah, just book him. But, sir, I've got a high-powered information machine in my pocket. I could just look at one of his videos online, see if he's the sort of thing we'd like. No, I said book him. So I've turned up there and they said, look, it's going to be a bonus as well because tonight we've got a speech before you by a bloke called Eric who works here, or he did work here up until a year ago when he was involved in a horrible workplace accident, lost both his legs. So he's just going to give a speech, first time back in front of the lads, and then we'll just bring you straight out after that and you can bring the night home with some comedy. And to top this, Eric's speech is going to also involve a tribute to his best friend and colleague, Bob, who lost his life in the same accident. So he's going to give a little speech about Bob, talk about himself, and then we'll just bring you on after that. And it's going to be a great night. Testimonials to dead people, in my experience, have always had a tendency to be very, very generous, almost as if fuckwits don't die. But even with that in mind, Eric's testimonial to his fallen friend Bob, who by all accounts loved a laugh, was quite believable and articulate, even if I seemed to be the only one there who thought there was some semblance of ambiguity surrounding whether or not Eric was responsible for Bob's death. But I wasn't going to say anything. Not really my place. But Eric proceeded to give a 45-minute speech and presentation with a large screen with slideshows of his painful and courageous rehabilitation back from no legs to prosthetic legs to standing in front of his mates for the first time here today. And interspersed with this, of course, were a lot of pictures of Bob, who loved the laughs, beaming larrikin smile. And Bob's smile, he said, was one of those smiles that never failed to make the most of a mundane situation, such as working in a factory all the livelong day on minimum wage with no foreseeable diversion except for perhaps an early death. But by the time Eric finished his speech, safe to say that I was the only one there out of 200 men not crying. And they've thought, you know what, we'd better get this comedian straight on here. Nothing really makes a burly factory man forget the tears rolling off his large face onto a cube of cheesecake better than some fluorescently lit stand-up comedy. Let's get him out there. So I had to walk out, and I don't mind saying it was very exposing. As I walked on stage, I knew at that very time that Bob would be flying up to heaven with a leg under each arm. Just looking back over his shoulders, thinking, I hope this comedian is funnier than being crushed to death by machinery operated by a negligent colleague. And with this in mind, plus the fact that Bob loved a laugh, I thought there's only one thing for this. No point in pussyfooting around. I'm going to have to go for it and go all in. So I got to the microphone. First thing I said was, oh, how about Eric, everyone? What an amazing story. All the way from adversity right through to triumph. An inspiration to one and all is Eric. Yeah. As a support act, though, he wasn't very fucking funny, was he? Yeah. I wish some of you were there. Because while Bob, God rest his mirthful soul, loved a laugh, the mortals he left her on earth fucking didn't.
You know what else I used to look up to, right? I used to look up to other people's dads. Because my dad was a great bloke. I thought everyone's dad must be a great bloke. It's just going to work out. Didn't work out at all. I became a dad, and I figured out it doesn't take that much to become one. Now, it's almost as if they let any old fuckwit become a dad now. It's amazing. There's a dad who's got kids at my kid's school, right, and he's a cool dad. I can't stand cool dads. I am just having a second pop at you, cruising around trying to elicit high fives from kids, that sort of shit. It's contemptible. This guy, right, he's one of these guys. He's in his 40s and he's got fashion hair. And not that reverse sideburn look you sometimes see on the modern youth. No. He's got like spiked up hair. All the way around, spiked up hair. And he's tall, but not tall enough for me not to know what's going on up there. Just looks like a fenced off slice of Devon. And all the other parents there at school pick-up time, they're largely mothers, so they're not tall enough to see what's going on, but I know. And like, leave him alone. He's a bloody great bloke. He's just a square peg. He's a special ray of sunshine in an otherwise flavourless world. He's amazing. It's bullshit. I can't stand this prick. He's a loser. He's trying to negate something shit going on in his life. You'll see. And most parents, right, who are resigned to the natural ageing process, when you turn up at school time to pick up your kids, you just turn up and through gritted teeth go, get in the fucking car, you little thing. Cool dad, because he's cool dad, he comes flying through the front gates on a skateboard, doing that shaky telephone symbol on his way in. And this thing, right, that's fine if you're an actual skater on your commute between acts of vandalism and petty crime. Or maybe it's all right if you're fresh off a mid-flight brawl and you've been zip-tied to seat 38G and you're posing for a photo with one of your mates doing the double, the Gold Coast Denpasar salute. Or it's, as it's better known in the media, the Jetstar jiggle. While I'm down here too, I'm not going to be one of those comedians who rips into Bali. Heaps do that. It's too much. Well, Bali's fine. Like, statistically, about a third of you make multiple trips to Bali. And I'm not here to judge you filthy fucking pigs. That's not my bag of chips. But when you're going to Bali, just remember who you're talking to when you announce your trip to Bali. I work with this bloke, and he says that he goes to Bali by himself a fair bit, which should raise eyebrows on its own merits. When he sees he's going, he says, oh, no, I'm going to Bali, but I'm going to the nice part. I go to the beautiful part. I don't go to that shit part where there's Aussies bashing each other on the beach and there's chip packets and Band-Aids floating around the ocean. Yuck. No, it's disgusting. I go to the beautiful part. You wouldn't believe it. It's just over the hill. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's just full of om and spirituality and noticeably less dogs on the dance floor. And if you're lucky, in the beautiful part, you'll bump into some of those perverts who've had to relocate their businesses from the hinterland areas of Australia over to a country where collecting vulnerable women is slightly less frowned upon. So, yeah, slippery old slope yoga, isn't it? But that's it. With yoga, right, 1 minute you're in a beautiful Byron Bay studio just down-dogging and you look over your shoulder and the yoga instructor's back there tucking his stiffy into the sash of his caftan. And you go, that's fine, that's probably just an isolated incident. And the next minute you're in an exclusive holistic femaleness retreat in Bali in a remote location, just getting invited to the guru's special gazebo of oneness to sweep it out and administer his daily perineum massage. And that's the nice part of Bali. I'd rather be down in Kuta getting a half stubby bin tank smashed across the back of my fucking head any day. It's one of those places too where men come back, right? This guy I work with, he came back from his latest trip to Bali and he said, look, I've been to Bali again. I brought back a little souvenir. I go, man, That sounds sus, man. Souvenirs are fine, but when you say little souvenir, we're not talking about a snow dome or a fridge magnet, are we? No. You've gone and got yourself another cluster of boils around the base of your tockley, haven't you, filthy animal? He said, no, nothing like that. And how dare you, one of my oldest and closest friends, judged me based only on the cliche that I've been to Southeast Asia by myself. Again. Particularly galling in front of my new fiancée here, whose anglicised name is Little Souvenir. So this thing, right, that's fine in those situations. But the Ridgy Dish, that's got no business at school pickup. I saw Cool Dad, right. This fucking hacky sack owner he was at a kid's party in a public park. It was one of those parties where they'd set up a slack line, which is a ratchet strap that the moderns put between two trees to act as a handy trip hazard for people like me. And the kids can try to balance on it. It's a good time, whatever. But Cool Dad, because he's Cool Dad, he had to go himself. And right in front of everyone, he's attempted a backflip dismount and ended up with one leg either side of the thing. Which most men, on their better late than never path to maturity, would see doing your nuts on a truck strap as a watershed moment. But not this poon. No way. He's one of these guys who says things like, oh, age is just a number. Well, yeah, well, so's bone density, you fuckstick. So, last time I saw this negligent parent, he was down at a trampoline centre. I don't know if any of you have one near your houses, but there's a trampoline centre near where I live. And it's trampoline centres. It's a place you can take your kids and they can just rattle their brains about for 5 or 6 hours in a row under what must be said is very lax supervision. And then you just take them home, put them to bed, hope they wake up. I was down there, right, and I saw Cool Dad then. Because he's Cool Dad, he got himself a wristband and had a go himself while his kids were on there. It was just heaps of kids and Cool Dad double bouncing him, having a bloody great time. And after only 10 minutes of frolicking, I heard that scream, that horrible scream you only ever hear from children when they're thinking, shit, we should have got ourselves a more appropriate hero in our lives. One more in touch with his ageing physical limitations, such as our new stepfather, Daryl. Because Cool Dad, he was being wheeled onto an ambulance with a compressed spine and a broken nose inflicted by his own knee. And he's in quite a lot of pain. He had his hands on his head there and he had to take one of them off to show us that he's all right. Causing everyone else to see what was going on up there. And then they knew what I already knew. The Cool Dads are no good fucking losers. Just trying to hide their baldness one way or another.
You know what else has moved into my suburb, though, in terms of health, and it's been a real boon for the local community, is a new wellness centre. It's fabulous. I mean, I feel quite well, but how would I know that I wouldn't feel even more well if I went down the wellness centre and purchased some off-the-shelf wellness down there? So I've wandered in there and it's just a bunch of Bondi Buddhist-looking types cruising around, just drinking life straight out of whole coconuts in there. And I walked up and said to the profiteering capitalist hippie behind the counter, man, I got one question straight off the bat. What the fuck is wellness? Why don't you just call it health? And he didn't say, look, we're not allowed to call it health. He said, oh, wellness, yeah, exactly the same as health. It's the same thing. Except wellness also involves a spiritual element. And by spiritual, I mean we only take cash. Well, I had cause to go to the wellness centre, though, because I hurt my back at work. And as soon as I felt it snap, I thought, oh, shit, you only get one back. You've got to look after your back your whole life. And there's only one thing for a snapped back, and that's some good old-fashioned wellness. I'd better get down to the wellness centre and sort this out. So I went in there and I said, look, I've snapped my back. And they said, mate, you're in luck. Because out the back here, and out the back are 3 words that always denote legitimate business activity. He said, out the back, we've got a chiropractor operating his business. So go out and see him. And I went out and saw this guy, and he was legit, this guy. He had like a framed degree nailed to the wall there. I got closer, which is an enlarged Indonesian work visa. But pretty good bloke. And then I proceeded to have the conversation I assume every chiropractor has first time they meet a civilian. He's very upset that he wasn't allowed to call himself a doctor. They hate this, that they can't call themselves doctors. And I don't know why in this modern world of rewarding baseless ambition that we don't... Just let chiropractors call themselves doctors. It's ridiculous. Turned out, coincidentally, the only reason this guy couldn't call himself a doctor was the same reason I can't call myself a doctor. I'm not a fucking doctor. So, chiropractor say that's got to be the ultimate Aussie, hey mum and dad, I'm just going to give it a go occupation. By mid-afternoon tomorrow, you could all be chiropractors if you want. I think you just go into a room somewhere and tell a story. And they give you a certificate and away you go. You can just go in somewhere and go, look, last weekend, I helped a mate move his king-size mattress on his hatchback. He didn't even have roof racks. We just undid all the windows, tied it on with 30 metres of dental floss, straight down the highway, one hand each up on the top there. Manual car, 110. Nailed it. Surely, if I'm capable of doing that, then I can manipulate baby spines with mixed results. Oh. There's no chiropractors here, are there? So I had cause to go back to the wellness centre, though, because I had crook guts. So I've gone in there, and they sold me some stuff. Had to go back the very next week. Say, look, funnily enough, the solid brass waving cat and the lump of pink crystal and the book on how to align my chakras didn't do the fucking trick. I've still got crook guts here. There must be something we can do for my gut. Stopping short, obviously, of consulting an actual health professional. There must be something we can do down here at the wellness centre for my crook guts. And I said, yeah, man, of course there is. You're in luck again, because what we've done here is we've started offering this procedure. And I apologise if not all of you are into this. So we started offering this procedure. It's called it's a fecal transfer. And what it is, you put a number 2 back in there. Like some entrepreneur has identified a hole in the market there and gone for that. And this guy could tell by the look on my face, not really my cup of tea. And he said, no, man, don't panic. It's not your revolting Monday morning 3 donuts, 2 coffees, blue collar poo. Yuck. No. This is a beautiful, delicate poo donated by a philanthropist, Pilates expert or something along those lines. I said, man, I'm going to have to stop you there. I've got to tell you, I'm giving serious consideration to cutting my spiritual journey short right here. If you've taken a look at me, I thought, oh, he's the kind of man who would voluntarily walk into a shop and just lie down on his back and chuck a brown eye while some dreadlocked vegan with those dangly rubber band earlobes gets a run-up and just slam dunks a Grogan straight to my freckle. You made a mistake. Don't think I'm going to do it. And he said, no, man, you should do it. You should definitely do it. What have you got to lose? So, well, besides $299.99 and the collective dignity of the human race, nothing. I said, yeah, you should definitely do it, because what it does is, it's really good for you. It puts good bacteria back in there. It recolonises your gizzards. I said, oh, man, now you're talking my language. You know, colonialism, one of my favourite concepts. Let's get amongst it. So I did it, right? And not for the reasons any of you perverts might think. I just did it because I want to be able to cruise around my house saying really cool stuff. Like, hey, Dale, don't wait for me for dinner. I'm just off down the wellness centre to pick the kids up from the pool.